Welcome to season 9 of the award-winning Retail Tea Break podcast. My name is Melissa Moore, the retail advisor. I'm a retail educator, trainer, and retail conference MC. And each week, as your host, I'll be joined by industry experts, retailers, and brands to dispel the myths, share their knowledge, and give you an insight into the retail industry. You can listen back to previous 8 seasons on your favourite podcast platform or watch us on YouTube. And while you're there, please hit that follow button so that you get to listen first every week. And remember, sharing is caring in the retail industry. Share an episode across any of the platforms with your network. And if you're on social media, tag me, Melissa Moore, and the Retail Tea Break podcast. So in the meantime, grab that cup of tea, sit back and enjoy season 9 of the Retail Tea Break podcast. This episode of the Retail Tea Break is sponsored by Autoaddress, the smarter way to capture addresses and stop delivery issues before they happen. Did you know that around 20% of all shipping addresses entered at the checkout are incorrect or incomplete, leading to failed or delayed deliveries, wasted admin time, lost revenue, and of course, frustrated customers? So whether it's typos, missing information, or messy express checkout data, Autoaddress catches bad addresses before they cost you time, money, or customers. So check out autoaddress.com and try it free for 14 days. Today I'm joined by 2 very special guests. Paul O'Hay is a pharmacist and the co-owner at Inish Pharmacy Group based up in County Donegal. Originally trained as a pharmacist, Paul's main focus is now on the online side of the business with inishpharmacy.com. This is one of Ireland's leading online pharmacies since launching the e-commerce store in 2013. Isabel Hughes is head of marketing at Autoaddress, the company helping retailers to minimise the cost of bad address data. With over a decade of marketing experience across the tech and retail space, Isabel has spent her career turning complex ideas into messages that resonate. She calls herself a bit of an address nerd these days, passionate about showing how something as simple as a clean address can make a big difference to customer experience. Paul O'Hay, Isabel Hughes, welcome to the Retail Tea Break podcast.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for having us on. It's great to be here and catch up again.
Amazing. Really delighted to have you both. Look, we're going to jump straight in because we've loads to cover today. So I'm delighted to have both of you here to give kind of your view of what's going on in retail, but also for your own businesses right now. So Paul, kicking off with you then. Inish Pharmacy has a number of stores as well as a strong online presence that I just mentioned. You're well known for delivering incredible service across both. Where does that all start?
I suppose for us, it starts back in the retail stores itself. That's what came first. So when we first decided to go online back in 2013, I suppose we try to take our ethos from in-store and bring it to online. So it sounds very simple, but we try and focus on our core values: service, care, and trust. And we always try and emphasize our in-store staff and our online team that the person in front of you who's coming in, they've taken their time to come into your store, whether it's physical or digital. It's about engendering that trust. So if someone comes in, they're asking for advice, they're asking for products, we don't get super salesy. It sounds very cliche and maybe it's not what a lot of people do, but we try and just treat the person with care and look after them so that when they leave, they're feeling better about when they first come in the door. So translating that to online obviously is very difficult, but it's something we put a really good effort on, just to try and look after people. It sounds very simple, but look after them and they'll come back, And retention obviously is such a massive element for any retail business, but we've always leaned on our customer service almost as like a retention tool. They're not there just to sort of address problems. It's like, show that you really are making an effort to look after them. And I think that resonates with customers, especially Irish customers who, they don't really want a faceless kind of experience. They kind of want a human touch to it.
I completely agree. And there's something so authentic about that and community driven. And as you say, the Irish customer especially we like to shop local in that respect. Even if you're down in Cork shopping from you in Donegal, it's still local to a lot of people. It's that support of the local community, I think, is vital. So I absolutely love that. And as you say, it's really hard to kind of replicate that online, but you're doing an absolutely cracking job of it. Isabel, we've just heard about the vital role online plays for Inish Pharmacy. Autoaddress then helps deliver that seamless service that, as Paul said, is vital to ensuring that customer retention.
Yeah, so, basically in a nutshell, Autoaddress, as you kind of said in the beginning, it helps retailers to eliminate the cost of bad address data. So we make sure that every address captured is real, first of all, because that can be a problem, that it's accurate and that it's conforming to the standard or the requirements that the retailer has on their form. And there's a few ways we do that. So the main way would be through kind of on a website in real time when you're ordering something, and we have an autocomplete API in there. So when someone starts typing their address, we populate the rest of the information. Or if customer service reps are taking orders over the phone, they need to input someone's address. Very often they'll have, just give me your air code, and then they pop that in and the rest of the address comes up. We also validate addresses as well, kind of after the fact. So if the information comes from a source that's not the retailer's form, if there's no autocomplete, or say it's from an express checkout option, we can kind of jump in and say, oh, hang on, there's some information here that's missing that's really important. Like there could be a missing air code or missing apartment number, that type of thing. And then we also do a lot of address cleansing for retailers as well. So they might come to us and say, we have all this legacy data in our CRM and we don't have all the information we need. There's stuff missing. So that could be appending air codes, adding in counties, or just kind of standardizing it in a certain way, geocoding and that type of thing. So really the goal is to kind of eliminate all these problems that arise because of having bad address data, which result in delivery delays or failed deliveries, customer support issues, and just poor user experiences, really.
And you know what? It ties in perfectly with what Paul just said there about having this really good service, whether it's in person, whether it's online, because I presume in that respect, delivery is massive. But because of that, then, Paul, you are so much more than a pharmacy. Like you're embedded in these communities around the country. We know we can buy online from you from all over the country, which is absolutely incredible. But on top of that, then it's because you have not only this incredible service, you have this amazing range of products, different categories, whether it was online. No, we're obviously gearing up for Christmas now, whether it's in store as well. That can't be easy to manage, especially at this time of the year.
Yeah, I suppose like any retailer, managing your category portfolio and your inventory is always challenging. For online, it brings extra challenges because you actually you have to do your imagery, your content. But we've never shied away from having a big range. Obviously, you need to manage it carefully. We've always felt that wide range has actually helped us. I think we've probably the largest range of SKUs in any of the online pharmacies in Ireland, and it's it's helpful for us, we think, because we do put a large amount of time into, our unique content for SEO. Very time consuming, but we think it's worth it because we've really strong organic rankings. So the wide category range is definitely something we found quite helpful. In terms of people find you, because you just don't know when someone's on site. They might come for a particular product. If you have good tools online that they can navigate the site, they can find other things that, oh, do you know what, I'm just going to buy that too because I'm just below the free shipping threshold, or so that's been good. Seasonally though, this time of year, you've got so much new products to list, new products to have images for, and it does create a lot of pressures. But it's all part of that sort of Q3, Q4 ramp up. It's like Christmas for retailers or anyone in marketing. It's that anticipation of that busy spell. It's kind of exciting. It's always busy, but it's worth it if you can do it. If you can do it well, you can use those new customers that you gain during those sale periods, for example, to push on in January then for the following year.
You were telling me as well, and I'm fascinated by this. You obviously have one of the biggest product ranges. Certainly looks that way online because there is so much there for everyone. You're obviously in the process of building, or should I say, moving into a brand new warehouse to facilitate all this incredible
Yes.
stock as well. That can't be easy at this time of the year.
It's not easy, and it's probably not the ideal time of the year, but it's something that's sort of been, in the works for a couple of years, that we've needed more space. Just thankfully, as we've been growing strongly, we really need that operational space. It's happening now as we approach the busiest time of the year. Probably not the best time to do it, but when is there a good time to do something like that? For us, January is often busier. It usually always is busier than December. So there's no great time to do it. It's just going to be, it'll be a bit of hard work in that transition period, and we're lucky we've good staff, we've good team, and they'll all row in, because I think they'll know at the other side of it it'll be a lot better for them too. It'll be lovely, as they say.
And do you know what? I think you're dead right. The people that work in this industry are so focused at this time of the year that whether it was now, whether it was in the random quiet one day of the year you might get in the middle of February or something, I don't think it matters, as you say. I think they're going to really enjoy the new space, enjoy the organization, enjoy probably in the long term finding things quicker. And therefore, it leads to that incredible customer experience for the customer too. So I think it's an amazing opportunity for the team and for you to be doing it now. And I think your customers are really going to appreciate that as well. But Isabella's was saying, obviously, we are gearing up now for the busiest time of the year. We as shoppers, or maybe I'm just talking about me, tend to start to buy on autopilot at this time of the year. You know, you've got things to buy, you're seeing the offers, you're online, as Paul said there, and maybe picking up extra bits and pieces. We're then utilizing this kind of express pay that is now so familiar to all of us. So PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, but we all do it quite quickly. And I've certainly noticed myself doing this since we've been talking recently. Are we actually creating issues for ourselves and our retailers by doing this?
So, yeah, so what's interesting is, this kind of shift towards the kind of express checkouts, digital wallets, express payments, the kind of variety of different terms to describe them. It's obviously really important because we see now more and more that consumers are expecting to have the most convenience when they're shopping and at the checkout. And there's a number of studies that have said 70% plus of people will expect to see an express checkout option. And they're brilliant for speed because it's all about reducing friction for the customer. But the irony is, when you are bypassing the checkout form and you're going straight to, say, Google Pay or PayPal, the address quality that is coming back isn't always the best because you're relying on information that is stored in a wallet that could have been there for the last 4 or 5 years. I know myself in my own PayPal wallet, there's about 20 different addresses there. Some of them don't have air codes, some of them do. I'm not even sure how there's that many because I've only had two addresses in the last 10 years, so I'm not sure. But a lot of the time, say if that information is missing, then what's getting passed back to the retailer mightn't be very good quality. So they're going to run into problems then when it comes to the delivery, or it could be missing, say, air codes, or it could be missing counties. We spoke to quite a large retailer there a couple of weeks ago, and they told us that they had problems with Apple Pay because the county field was a free text field, but on their form and their systems, it's a pick list from 32 counties. So they had to turn that feature off. So that's where we're trying to come in and say, look, we can help with this because we can come in at the last hurdle before the payment goes through to say, okay, hang on a second, there's a problem here because the apartment number is missing or there's no air code, or just check, is this correct? And there's certain things we can fix silently and that's fine for the retailer. But when you need some intervention, it's trying to make sure that friction is kept to a minimum because, yeah, we've all done it. We've all just tried to buy something, as you're saying, on autopilot, and it's done about speed. So it's just making sure that the address quality that comes back is at the level it needs to be at so that they're not going to run into any problems when it comes to delivering the item.
This is absolutely fascinating. Genuinely, as a shopper, it's not something I've ever really thought about. But again, I can see and hear straight away here where the barriers are coming up, where the issues are coming up, where I may not actually get that present or that gift that I'm buying for myself off the website actually to my door because of some small technical issue that I've in part, made. But I'm also then hearing how easy it is then to remove these barriers and how seamless this experience becomes. And I think that's absolutely the key here. And on that, then, Paul, you obviously rely on efficient services in the pharmacy. You offer online doctor services, same day click and collect, next day delivery. How, or I suppose even when, did you start to realize then that address capture step, so the one we've just been talking about there at the checkout, was the weak link for your delivery and therefore for your customer?
We've actually went on quite a journey in terms of addresses from when we first started online, right back from when we were manually entering. Sounds absolutely crazy, but manually entering addresses on shipping labels. When you think back, you're going, how or why did we even do that? But that's obviously a long time ago. We've gone through different stages then, systems integrations with the carriers. Now we're using Wave OMS, which is fantastic. But a great user experience on site, it can easily be undermined by that last stage of delivery. And while there's some of that, it's obviously going to be out of your control as a retailer once the carriers have it. But we were thinking, what can we control at our end to minimize these things? So I suppose like Isabel touched on some of it earlier, like internally you've got adjustments or amendments by your customer service team, your warehouse team, and externally you can have delays at the courier stage where they're even misrouting something to the wrong delivery depot or it's attempted delivery at the wrong house. And these just can cause frustrations for the customer. So that was really important for us. If we can minimize some of these steps, like there has to be a solution for it. So when we came across Autoaddress, it was absolutely perfect because it really did. It made those address formats in a uniform way that they were in compliance with all the carriers, the different fields of the address. It sounds to a consumer, they might not even consider these things, but putting the town in the wrong address field or the county in the wrong address field, these are all just little itty bitty errors that can cause delays. And for us, it's really important for people to get the order processed, packed, shipped as soon as possible because you can never tell when someone's shopping with you how much they're relying on that to get it the next day. It could be a medicine for a sick child. It could be something they're looking after for care. It could be a birthday present. So when people are shopping, they do have different sort of levels of need and reliance, and you can kind of underestimate sometimes how important it is to someone to get their order the next day. So something that can minimize that auto address has been really good. And I think especially on like mobile devices and things like that, sometimes certain screens they're not too big. Some people have big complicated addresses and you're trying to manually type it into a mobile screen. So putting in your air code pops up the address. It's just been fantastic.
This is so interesting because, again, we talk so much about selling and the sales process and even that kind of really new way of thinking about the post purchase experience over the last few years. But this is the step no one talks about. And it genuinely does fascinate me now because something so simple can make everything go wrong, both for the retailer and for the consumer. And I suppose, Isabella, it doesn't help them when you've got Irish addresses like mine, living in the middle of nowhere, doesn't really have a proper address in that respect. It's not standardized. How on earth does that complicate things for you?
Yeah, and this is something that we talk about all the time to our customers is that Irish addresses are just mad. Because unlike the UK or the US, Ireland doesn't have a universal standard for how we write our addresses. I mean, obviously the Air Code came in 2015, it's been 10 years, and that's made a world of difference because I think it's 1/3 of Irish addresses are non-unique. So they are sharing the address with at least one other dwelling. And you could see the same address written five different ways, especially in the remote areas. And like that can cause huge problems. So, that's one of the things that we are trying to help retailers with that complexity. And that's why the air code is so important because that has become a unique identifier. And we've seen the adoption rate of air code now at about up at 89, 90%, which is great. But there are times when the air code might be entered, but it could still, there's in about 2% of cases, the air code is incorrect. And that might not sound like a lot, but when you're looking at 50,000 addresses, do you know what I mean? It actually adds up. You're talking about a few hundred there. And the way the air code is formatted, the routing key, which is the first three digits, will always be the same. But then the last four are completely unique to that household. So if that is incorrect, that could end up somewhere 20 minutes away. So it's really important to make sure that we minimize those issues because, again, no one really thinks about that. And as Paul is saying, the number of different lines of an address, and you can't preempt how everyone is going to write their address. Like we see it even ourselves with Shannon Airport. There's like a postal address and a geographic address. One of them is in Clare and one of them's in Limerick. So
Gosh.
it's actually very complex. So yeah, that's what our goal is to try and resolve these issues for our customers.
Wow, I'm absolutely flabbergasted by that. But again, the more you both talk about it, the more it makes perfect sense for me from a retail perspective, but also for the shopper. Like, we really are eliminating so many barriers here, so many issues that they don't even know they're creating. But I think it's lovely then that there's something working away in the background to ensure that there's still a seamless service there, seamless delivery, and that they go away happy. And therefore, even coming back to what you said right at the beginning, Paul, they keep coming back because we're building that loyalty, we're retaining our customers. And I suppose the retailer then has done everything they can do to ensure that parcel is delivered. But look, last question for you. As we've mentioned, we are coming into the busiest time of year. We're obviously then heading into 2026. So look, Paul, what's coming up next for you and the team?
We have, as well as moving into our new warehouse now imminently, we have a new website that's getting launched, which is going to be very exciting because
Wow.
we've
You don't
lots of
do
new.
things by halves up there in Donegal, do you?
Yeah. Well, you gotta move with the times. We've been very fortunate to partner with some good, really good companies over the last 12, 13 years of being online. But yeah, we're moving to a new website platform, which will just give us a lot more features that we're I'm a gadget kind of guy, so I'm always looking at the shiny new things and thinking, will this improve the user experience or will it improve internally what we're doing? So there's just certain tools and stuff that we're like really excited to get using. The customers might not even notice a lot of them, but we're really, really looking forward to that. I think it is an exciting time for retail still. It never stands still. I suppose if you're in a physical store or online, it's always changing. You're always having to freshen things up and add new things and try them out. And if they don't work, especially with online, you've got the data there to go, that didn't really work as expected. Either can you tweak it or you change it for something else. So we've always been pretty progressive at trying different things and trying new things that maybe it's borrowed from a different industry and just try it and see. So we'll be keeping to do that and introducing lots of new features that we're really excited about internally.
That's great to hear. And I don't think enough retailers talk about that. It's a huge kind of undertaking, moving to a different platform or building and creating that new website. And what you have is phenomenal from a shopper experience. I've been on there quite a lot, but it's really exciting then to hear. But as you said, not just for the customer, for the team as well. If it makes things more seamless for them and we have a better employee experience, I'm sure they're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are. Anything that can make their lives easier, you can get bogged down in reports and analysis. There's the practical things of can it make me do X, Y, and Z easier? And does that make sense for the other staff members? Those little things that we're keen to get utilizing. And then from customers, we're just looking forward to keep building on what we've been doing. There's some features the customers have been asking for, and we do try and listen to them. We always try and take heed of what they're telling us, whether that's in our reviews. We've quite a lot of reviews. We've by far the most reviews in the online pharmacy area in Ireland. The key themes that you see in that, the biggest is probably shipping and speed of delivery and processing. But there's themes that come back there all the time that, yeah, let's actually try and do that. Like people are telling you, they're going out of their way and they're giving you information. And I think like really paying attention to that and listening, I suppose it's like any interaction with a customer. It's like, are you hearing them or are you listening properly, listening to them and hearing what they're saying? So we'll just keep working at that. We'll not get everything right. We'll probably try and do too much at the one time. But look, it's worked so far. We'll just keep at it.
Such an exciting time. It's wonderful to hear how progressive the company is and that you keep building on that. So, Isabel, end of 2025, I know you've been busy with an awful lot of retailers this year. What's next for you and the team?
So we're busy working away with some of our integrations. We have native integrations with Shopify Plus and BigCommerce, but we're working on an integration just for Shopify standard with address validation. That'll come in after the purchase has gone through because the kind of Shopify checkout is quite closed. So there's only so much you can do at the point of purchase, but we're working on an integration there. And we've also just introduced this kind of a free tool called Check Address, which basically it's just a piece of JavaScript and it sits silently in the checkout. And it's basically to give retailers an idea of what their address quality is. So it doesn't actually do anything. It just pulls in the data as a report and basically says, this is what you're getting. And it's like an audit essentially of their address data, especially when they're coming from these express checkout sources and things like that. So it's just getting them to have a look and see, oh, this is kind of the visibility basically of their address quality and what they're getting. So, we've been in talks with a few retailers to get that up and running. So that's on our roadmap.
Sounds really exciting. Sounds really interesting as well to have that audit there, especially
Mhm.
again at this time of year. It is the best thing to be doing,
Mhm.
as we've really talked about in today's episode, to ensure that it's a seamless experience for you and the team, but also for the customer. So, look, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please do like and share it from any podcast platform with your network. And if you're on social media, tag me, Melissa Moore, and the Retail Tea Break podcast. You can, of course, listen back to previous seasons on your favorite podcast platform. And while you're there, do hit that follow follow button so that you get to listen first every week. Connect with myself, Isabel and Paul on LinkedIn, and obviously I will share all the details for Autoaddress and Inish Pharmacy's website in our show notes. Isabel, Paul, I have learned so much today. It's been such an interesting conversation. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, Melissa, thanks for having us. It's been great to catch up.
Thank you again to Autoaddress for sponsoring today's episode. Autoaddress powers faster checkouts and more accurate deliveries by fixing bad address data before it becomes a problem. So check out autoaddress.com and try it free for 14 days.